Yes, therefore we will be three to present the project. Arsène is next to me, which is the chairman of our organization. I am the vice chairman, and Carla Cross, the CE by Scotland, will continue. Therefore, the project that we are talking present to you is a project of a professional and actors organization of farmers, and named the SIMRA. The SIMRA was created in 1993 with the goals of developing the vanilla value chain in the Guadeloupean forest. After 8 or 18 years, we came with the following evidence that a monocropping system, or production system, was producing a lack of sustainability of the vanilla production in Guadeloupe, a negative cash flow for the income and expenses of the farmers, a long return of investment, it is around 5 years, and a low resilience due to the monocropping system. Difficulty on marketing also, because with non-competitive, we would say, production cost, absence of technical reference on specific forest gardening production system. Then effectively, well, in 2011, right, we also took a few years to effectively generate the project VALAB. This project is an experimental action with the stakeholders, and who has an aim to answer those difficulties, and by coming with up with the innovative forest farm that respect the ecological integrity of the forest. VALAB also reconcile forest gardening and protection of the common goods with payment for environmental services. Therefore, that will be the first what is about of the project, and what challenge, problem, and opportunity we are trying to address.
So I propose that we now shift to the second question to address relevant results and best practices. So Philippe, do you want to start talking about the VALAB project, and then I will talk about the SIMRA project?
Okay, yeah. Therefore, the VALAB project introduces a change of paradigm when it comes with to innovation, in the sense that the project was launched at the initiative of the farmers members of the SIMRA, this our organization. We are a Guadeloupean vanilla producers organization. We had been active since 2011, as I said, on the ground, trying to get the right set of stakeholders around the table. We relied on informal network of stakeholders until 2015, and we managed to submit the VALAB project proposal in 2016 to build up an operational group. The project was validated in 2018, which is when we started really our activities.
So I will follow up. So actually, so that's when the VALAB project was emerging on the ground, and that's when the SIMRA project came in. So in SIMRA, which was a Horizon 2020 project looking at social innovation in marginalized rural areas, we aim to evaluate and enhance social innovation in marginalized rural areas. So we were actually looking at social innovation, and we realized that the VALAB project, that stands for Integrated Value Enhancement of the Guadeloupean Forest Agrobiodiversity, was in itself a social innovation. So in SIMRA, we expanded further on the change of paradigm that Philippe was talking about, and in the way that we literally revised our approach to innovation. So we have been striving to revise our assumptions about the different roles of the farmer, the scientist, the development agent, the conservationist, and to place the experience of the stakeholders and their knowledge at the center, their social innovation, and build from there. So the operational group, which we joined, gathers people, the VALAB operational group, which we joined with SIMRA, gathers people with complementary skills, and starting from the initial challenges faced by the farmers, we have co-constructed the question to be looked at, the solution to be implemented, but also the way we work together. So the key word in our approach is co-construction, and we have been aiming to co-construct a shared vision of multifunctional forest farm. So the key results of that interaction between the VALAB and the SIMRA project are the elaboration of a manifesto by the members of the SIA-PROVAC. So it's a manifesto for the integrated value enhancement of the Guadeloupean Forest Agrobiodiversity, which basically gives their philosophy and the way they want to interact with the forest, and the definition of the common good, which is the forest multifunctionality. That is something that needs to be preserved for the future generation. So in the next few years, so as a result of this interaction, we have outlined with the group of farmers the activities to be undertaken in the next few years, as well as their priorities. And two key aspects are developing technical references for forest farming, for forest farms, and a feasibility study on payment for environmental services, which is what we are doing at the moment. So now moving on to the factors, the supportive factors and actors, I give the floor to Philippe.
Okay, thank you, Carla. Before meeting with factors and actors of success, we have faced obstacles, barriers, and drawbacks that have challenged our existence and our activities as an operational group. The VALAB project was initially judged as being superfluous by our funders, or some of our funders yet. And the funding we initially asked for was cut. So we have had to reduce our ambition on the project. But this is just an illustration of her problem that has deeper roots, and problem is the lack of the representativity of local stakeholders at two levels, I would say. The first, in the arena where public policies are discussed and where decisions are made with regard to public funding allocation, and in the second way, also linked to the first point, the lack of representativity in the arena of that decides of the type of agricultural model that needs to be promoted. The actors who have expertise on and knowledge of the problem encountered on the ground are not all associated with the discussion, and consequence choices that are made around those matters. Right.
And the dynamic that is described by Philippe and Arsène is exactly what gave birth to the VALAB project and to the support that was provided to it via the SIMRA project that was coordinated by the James Hutton Institute. So coming together, those two projects collided to create the right conditions, to create a social dynamic and partnership that sustained the VALAB social innovation and the unfolding of the range of initiatives. So in terms of key factors that played a fundamental role, there was first the opportunity for funding. So the VALAB consortium was able to apply to the European Innovation Partnership and have funding for a year of project, first to set up an operational group. Next, the second factor is the fact that the SIMRA project was looking at examples of social innovation on the ground to support them through innovation action. So that enabled us to support the operational group in developing a shared vision for the management of the forest in Guadeloupe. And we directly injected the expertise developed through SIMRA in the VALAB project. So here we see that it was both a matter of the right calendar and the right funding at the same time. And we see that funding is critical for the pursuit of the dynamic. And we are currently in this phase between both the end of the SIMRA project and the end of the first VALAB phase, the first VALAB project, and the next call for proposals. So we are in between, and this is a challenge that a lot of people will find on the ground, is that it's much more difficult to keep that level of engagement with stakeholders when the funding is over. And then one of the final factors that was very key in that project is the human factor and the capacity of all the members to not only devote a huge amount of time for free, even before the project was funding, to put the ideas together, gather the actors and write up the proposal, and then throughout the course of the project. And the second is the willingness and the capacity for the members of the operational group to sometimes were at the edge of their official remit to act in the capacity of what I would call marginal intermediaries, because their respective institutions do not always see at first the interest in a project. So, you fiddle a little bit, you fill gaps, sometimes most of the time in your spare time, until you are able to legitimize a project and until your institution realizes that it's actually an interesting project. So this is, in a few words, our key learnings from both the VALAB and the SIMRA project. Thank you.